1.
Oh, 2, 3, 1. Is that what it said? Oh, that's kind of silly. Mommy
No,
almost forgot about story time today, didn't I? We had to kind of scramble to get ready for it, didn't we? Yeah, but that's okay. We're all kind of figuring this all out. All new skills at home. What did you start today, Lillian? What did you have for the first time today? Did you have a meeting with your preschool class and your teacher? Yeah, that was kind of a new thing. So we're all trying to figure out new stuff right now. So, but we've got a story time, don't we? What story are we going to read today?
Daniel.
Daniel! And what happened to Daniel?
He got thrown in the lion's den.
Oh, that sounds really scary. Should we read and see what happens? Yeah? All right, we'll wait just a few minutes. We got a couple people watching. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi! It doesn't let me see who you are, but if you leave a comment, we'd love to know who you are that's stopping by to watch our story time. Do we have fun with story time? Do you think it's fun? That was a very non-committal answer. All right. Well, I think it's fun, and we're gonna start.
I think it's fun too.
Oh, good. I'm glad you think it's fun. So we're gonna start. The title of the story is Daniel and the Scary Sleepover. Have you ever had any sleepovers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were they scary?
No.
No, probably not like Daniel's scary sleepover. We're gonna read about it. And this story comes from Daniel chapter 6. And
Daniel chapter 6?
Yeah, so that means that if you were to look it up in your Bible, that it would be in the book of Daniel, and you would find the big number 6. And that's where you would start reading to find this story.
A big Bible like yours?
Yeah, Yep. Like Mommy or Daddy's Bible. Mm-hmm.
That's what Dad told me.
All right, here we go. Things were not looking good for God's people. They had been captured and taken far from, and now they were slaves of the king of Babylon. But God had not left his people. He was with them, and he was looking after them. Daniel loved God and obeyed him. Now God made Daniel able to understand lots of difficult things. So it wasn't long before the king of Babylon noticed him. King Darius liked how clever Daniel was. So he made Daniel his most important helper of all and put him in charge of lots of other helpers. But the other helpers didn't like this. They wanted the king to like them best. They wanted to get rid of Daniel. So they spied on Daniel. They tried to find things wrong with Daniel, things they could tell the king, but there weren't any. None. They couldn't find anything at all. Except there was just the one thing. Every day, 3 times a day, without fail, no matter what, Daniel went to his room, closed the door, and prayed. They smiled to themselves. Let's get the king to make a law. No one is allowed to pray to anyone except to the king. Daniel won't obey this law, and he will be punished. They were pleased with themselves for being so clever and hurried off to tell the king. The king liked their idea. He didn't know they were tricking him, so he made it into a law. Everyone must pray only to me. If you don't, the lions will have you for their dinner. Daniel heard this. He knew it was wrong to pray to anyone except God. He had to do what God said, whatever it cost him, even if it meant he would die. So Daniel went to his room, closed the door, and prayed. That is just what the bad men knew Daniel would do. They skipped straight off to tell the king, "Oh, your most glittering highness, your law says says, does it not, that everyone must pray to you alone, sire?" "Yes," said the king. "O magisterial brightness, then correct us if we're wrong, but it would seem that Daniel is praying to God, not to you." The king was sad. He had been tricked. He didn't want to hurt Daniel, but he couldn't change his law. And so he let the soldiers throw Daniel to the lions. "May your God, who you love so much, rescue you," the king said. The king went back to his palace, but he didn't sleep that night. Not a wink. He tossed and turned until finally, at the first glimmer of dawn, he leaped out of bed and ran straight to the den. "Daniel," he cried, "has your God rescued you?" "Yes," Daniel shouted. "God sent an angel to close the lions' mouths." And there, resting his head on Daniel's lap, was the biggest lion, purring like a little kitten. The king brought Daniel out of the den. "Look," he said, "Daniel doesn't even have a scratch." The king made a new law. Daniel's God is the true God, the God who rescues. Pray to him instead. God would keep on rescuing his people, and the time was coming when God would send another brave hero like Daniel who would love God and do what God said, whatever it cost him, even if it meant he would die. And together they would pull off the greatest rescue the world has ever known. And who do you think that hero is, Lillian?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's getting pretty easy to answer these questions, isn't it? Because it kind of is all pointing to the same story, isn't it? Yeah. Do you think it was hard for Daniel to pray when he knew that it was against the law? Why don't you think it was hard for Daniel?
Because he was, but because on this page it says he was okay.
Well, yeah, he was okay, but I mean, before he got thrown in the lion's den, when they changed the law and he heard that the law was changed, do you think it was hard for him to still pray?
No.
No, why not?
Because it says that the king liked their idea, but then he didn't.
Well, yeah, he didn't like their idea after he realized that it meant he would have to throw Daniel in the lion's den. I think maybe it was a little bit hard for Daniel to still follow and obey God rather than the king, don't you think? Because the king was telling him to do something that he knew was wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes people that are in power, like kings, sometimes they tell us to do things that aren't right, and we have to obey God first. Now, we should obey our kings when they're telling us to do the right things, shouldn't we? Should we follow the law most of the time? Probably all the time? Unless it's not a good law like it was in Daniel's case, huh? Follow God and follow authority. Those are some good rules to live by, aren't they? Even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now it's hard to follow the authority, isn't it? People that are telling us to stay home, it's kind of hard to do that, isn't it? But it's for the safety of everybody. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. And
And what?
if you want, you can join me in my story time at any time.
At any time. You're getting really good at this whole being on social media thing, aren't you?
Yeah.
She's starting to do her own story times, and I got to get them posted because she does a really good job, and it's pretty fun to listen to. But you can keep an eye on my personal page for that if you would like to see Lillian doing her own story times. Otherwise, you can join us again tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and I promise that we won't forget, even though we almost did today. But I'm glad for everybody who joined us, that you joined us for story time, and that we had a good time reading about Daniel. And I'm excited to see what tomorrow's story is all about. Yeah. You have anything else to say, Lillian? No?
No.
All right, is it time to say goodbye? Sign off?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, don't forget you can find lots of great resources at gracepeople.church. Lots of great things for you if you're stuck at home or you're looking for something to do with your kiddos. We got lots of stuff there that you can check out. And also, we're here at 1 o'clock every day doing story time. So thanks for joining us, and we miss you. From our living room to yours, we love you, and we hope you're doing all right. Bye.